The siren screamed through the golden quiet of a California afternoon as Rookie Officer Ethan Cole slammed his cruiser to a stop in the middle of an empty 4-lane highway. His chest heaved, hands shaking slightly around the steering wheel. It was his 3rd month on duty, 3 months of trying to prove that he was worthy of the badge his late father once wore. His father had died in uniform, shot during a traffic stop gone wrong, and ever since that funeral, Ethan had promised himself that he would never hesitate to act. Never freeze. Never fail. And yet, as the sunlight hit the chrome reflection of the Harley he'd just pulled over, his stomach turned with a sense that something about this stop wasn't ordinary. The man standing beside the bike wasn't panicking. He wasn't angry. He wasn't even defensive. He was calm, too calm. A mountain of muscle and weathered tattoos, wearing a black leather vest with the words "Hell's Angels" stitched across the front. He had gray in his beard, a stillness in his eyes that spoke of battles survived and regrets buried deep. His wrists were now locked in Ethan's handcuffs, and yet his gaze remained steady, sorrowful almost, as though he pitied the young man who'd just cuffed him. Ethan's radio crackled faintly in the background, the world oddly muted as a gentle wind rustled the American flag hanging from a distant gas station sign. Somewhere deep down, he knew something wasn't right. This wasn't the man they were looking for. The suspect had fled hours ago, last seen wearing a vest like this one. But Ethan's instincts, clouded by fear and the need to prove himself, had taken control. He thought he was doing what a good cop would do. Instead, he had just arrested the wrong man. If you believe in hope, compassion, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because what happens next will remind you how one mistake can change everything. The biker's name was Ray Dalton, though the patch on his vest read, RL.CHLLS. For 20 years, he had ridden with the Angels, not because of violence or rebellion, but because it was the only family he had left. A combat veteran who'd lost both his brothers in the line of fire overseas, Ray came home to find an America that had moved on without him. The road became his therapy, the club his brother's, and his motorcycle his only prayer. And now, standing there with steel cutting into his wrists, he watched this young officer, this trembling kid barely older than his own son would have been, trying to hold himself together under the weight of authority. Ethan led him toward the cruiser, reading him his rights in a voice that cracked despite his effort to sound confident. Around them, the world looked too peaceful for what was happening: clear skies, polished asphalt, birds crossing overhead. A few curious drivers slowed down, phones raised, recording. Ethan hated that. The flashing lights made it look like a victory, but it felt like a mistake he didn't know how to undo. When Ray didn't resist, Ethan's chest tightened even more. Why isn't he angry, he thought.